In this episode, we're talking about that time we got kidnapped and woke up in a creepy, dark room with a sadistic and sarcastic game master who forced us to play his game, and then we attempted to escape. No, we're not talking about Inscryption. That was the other time. We're talking about Inkshade. This and more on Indie Game Arcade. Welcome everyone to Indie Game Arcade, a podcast that deep dives into the latest and greatest indie games. My name is Chris.
I am Joseph.
I got real deep there on the end, like my name is Chris. Hey, did you like Inscryption when you played that game?
I did. I think I played that one before you did, and I was just kind of blown away by how, I guess, all the different directions it goes. Like, I won't spoil it for anyone who doesn't know anything about it. I would love for people to just experience that for themselves. Absolutely worth playing and going in blindly, since that's what I did, and I enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, man. Are you ready to get blown again?
I don't know. Am I?
Game start! Inkshade was released on August 14th, 2025, developed and published by Studio Vezelle. This is their very first game, and I believe it was like a solo dev that created this thing, which is crazy. You're going to hear a lot of comparisons to Inscryption because, like, this is essentially the, like, quintessential spiritual successor to Inscryption. Now, I don't know that it goes nearly as, like, crazy and deep that Inscryption goes. Inscryption is like the king of subversion within an indie game. Like, it did so much. And there was so many secrets and so many weird left turns and stuff within the game, the gameplay, like the identity of what this entire thing even is, that people even were finding stuff out about it, like, you know, a year or two later, that, like, you know, as a community that, like, a lot of players didn't even catch when they finished it. So I don't know that this is going to go that far, but this kind of took, like, all of the things that I liked about what I'm going to call the first arc of Inscryption. And it basically takes that kind of stuff and then adds in roguelike tactics, like turn-based tactics in a roguelike setting into that instead of being a roguelike deck builder. So it's like, again, you like wake up in like a dimly lit house, mansion, museum. I'm not really sure. It's huge. And you are being kept captive by this otherworldly game master who has you take on the role of a captain, and you're playing this ever-evolving wooden board game where each game piece, like a little carved figure, it has unique abilities. So, like, you might have one that's like the villager or a lancer or an archer. I think it's a hunter, actually, or like a mage. Like, there's different ones, and they have like so much health or attack or range for their attack and things like that. So think about it in terms of like a JRPG or something. Your goal in the board game is to escape this world of the game called the Abyss by navigating these procedurally generated scenarios, gathering crew and outsmarting the game master, getting a sky ship and sailing off essentially to leave. But then there's like this greater goal of escaping, like, wherever the heck you are being held captive in, of which there are many, 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 many locked doors in this place. So yeah, man, this is essentially Inscryption, but with miniatures and turn-based tactics. On the surface level, how does that sound to you?
I mean, it sounds cool and it looks cool. If the gameplay is solid, then I would think I would even enjoy this, even if it didn't go to the level that Inscryption does, even just as like a standalone product, I guess.
So like I'll tell you like right off the bat too, I was so excited for this game to come out. Got into it. First started playing, and then I started to get a little bit worried because I was like, this is so much like Inscryption that I think I started to get a little worried, and then feeling like, is this going to be too much of a carbon copy? And then I was starting to like, be like, oh man, I don't know if this is going to be, the thing that I want it to be. But as I started doing the actual like gameplay, like getting into the turn-based tactics and stuff with the figures, and started like kind of, I guess, understanding all the things that you could do. And it kind of does that thing with that Inscryption does as well, where it's kind of like you're sort of set up to lose the first couple times. And then like each time it's like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, you're not very powerful yet. Go do this thing, like get up from the table, go get these things, or go do this thing, or, go get this key, unlock this door. You'll be able to go power up your guys over there. So it kind of like whenever you lose, you kind of like learn for the first few rounds more things that will aid you going forward. So it's kind of a smart way. And I did like that about Inscryption also. Aside from like the first time I got like to the fisherman and then got that whole thing of sharks, and I was like, what the hell? So, it was all grizzlies it filled the board with. And I was like, come on, man. Because I didn't realize what they were doing. But like, yeah, it kind of does that thing where it introduces new concepts to you slowly so that you can understand everything and really, really learn at a good pace, because there's quite a bit going on in this game. So I'll tell you a little bit about how the board game kind of functions, which is that you are getting these little miniatures. And I think when you start the game, you start with either 2 or 3. I want to say 3. And you're like on a hex style terrain map, of which like the animation when this thing comes up, it is so cool looking. Anyway, you're almost thinking about it as a deck of cards, even though they're miniatures. You have like a little starting hand, essentially, of little miniatures. There's only so many tiles on that board that you can set your starting miniatures on. So if like your starting hand of miniatures, let's say you have 6. If you only have 3 starting tiles, you still can only use 3 for that fight, right? But there are ways that you earn this currency for every like enemy that you defeat, called a script, and they're like these little gold coins. The more of those you earn, you can like go into another room, not only use that to upgrade things about your miniatures, but you can also upgrade your the little starting slots on the game board, so that maybe you do have 4 or 5 or 6, and then you have a better advantage and stuff every time. There's a really big balance with that, because it's like you could start strong with that and like put a lot of your money into doing that so that you start with more characters on the board. But those are like cost a lot more money to upgrade versus leveling up the little individual minis. So like maybe you got a lot of guys on there, but they're not super powerful, versus do you want to have a few guys on there and try to make them more powerful? So there's definitely like a really good balance there that you have to kind of figure out for yourself how you want to play it. You can either win each combat by defeating all the opponent's miniatures on the board, or there's almost always a golden tile somewhere on that terrain map. And if you can get one of your guys onto that golden tile and they survive that round, then you can win the match. So, and that sounds easier than it is, because there's usually a lot of guys in between. And you usually don't, like, each guy usually doesn't have that much health. Like when you're first starting, most of your little miniatures only have maybe like 2 HP, 3 HP. Some of them only have 1 HP. So it's not like you can get hit very many times. And there definitely are like some of the opponent's minis, like there's these little wolf looking dudes that do like 2 damage at once. So you have to be like super careful about placement and how you're doing it. So Yeah, there's a lot to think about. Like, it does get way more tactical than it looks like it would be on first glance. And I think that's really cool. It does do that same thing in Inscryption where it's got like, where you are kind of selecting what path you want to go. It rolls out like a scroll and you're kind of choosing a path. Like, it does literally almost that exact same thing. And there's different like points of interest. So you might go to like a battle, or you see a book and that'll give you more like story flavor and lore to this game that you are playing, or you see a chest and that gives you the opportunity to pick another miniature, or there's like a little sacrifice thing where you can sacrifice 2 of your miniatures for 1 powerful miniature. Or there's like a little mage hat looking thing, or witch hat. And that's like one that has like these cursed upgraded minis that maybe one's really powerful, but he has like less movement speed, things like that. And you are able to get like more miniatures like every battle you win. Like, a chest will open and you can choose between 1 or 2, just like you would like with like cards in a deck builder or something. But it's like one of those cases too of, if you, let's say you have like a really good pool of, like in your starting hand or something like that. It's like, do you really want to fill it up with like cannon fodder dudes? Maybe, maybe not. So like being selective and thinking about that, it's just more things to consider when you're going. When I was talking about like those scripts and stuff, there's a lot of like, if you explore the rooms that you're in, you'll find a lot of those coins laying around. And like, I got up at one point, I was able to open this other door and I found like a whole bunch of other miniatures too that I was able to add to my collection, which was really awesome. So like that gave me a lot more of a bigger pool of minis to like choose from for my starting hand. So a lot of variety and everything right there. When you're like playing the game, the board game, if you lose a miniature, like one of them gets defeated in the game, then they're like inaccessible again. Like they're gone for the rest of that game. But like, if you, let's say you lose, like all of them get defeated, you've lost that run. The ones that you've collected like outside of the game, like in the environment, you still keep those. Like you can use them again your next run. But if you've gained any during your run, like as a reward or something, those are gone. So let's say like I was able to sacrifice 2 of my little guys for some like real powerful guy. That guy's gone if I lose. So yeah, that's a really cool thing too. I like upping the stakes with that kind of stuff.
I mean, I'm wondering like what the end game aspect of it's like. Did you beat a run?
Yeah. So like once you get to the first boss, you do that and you are given like another key that unlocks another room in this like whatever you're in, like this mansion or something. I'm not sure what it is. It's got to be like a mansion or a museum or something. You unlock that and there's like a ton more other stuff to explore. So like the game is almost like you've got the board game aspect, but then it's almost also like a gigantic escape room also. And like when I say there's a whole bunch of locked doors, like I mean it. There's a ton of locked doors. So like I don't even know what the end game is just yet. Like that's still kind of a mystery. And I don't even know what this thing is that's in there. So like whatever it is, it's like not healthy. It's not good for us. And it's like, it's definitely got a little bit of a horror aspect to it. Like, as you're like exploring this like place that you're in or something, you might see something out of the corner of your eye, like a table, and you might see like this long black stretchy arm, almost like a Venom kind of arm or something underneath it. And it's definitely like the game master's arm or something. But it's like the second you like turn and look at it, it like retreats back under and like disappears. And that happens like a lot in this game. There's always something like just creepy going on. The atmosphere of this game is just so good. It's so stylized, so creepy. You know, everywhere you walk, creaks and groans in the floorboards and stuff. You know, almost sounds like little spiders skittering every once in a while. Just like really ambient kind of sounds and music and stuff. But yeah, as far as in-game, I have no idea yet.
What I mean more so is like, since it's a roguelike, if what's going to encourage like replayability, I see that they have like challenge modes in there. So I'm wondering if that is what's sort of taken place of more of a repeatable in-game state. But I don't know. It looks like it's full of all kinds of different secrets and stuff. So one I'm looking forward to trying out for sure.
Yeah, there's a ton of secrets in it for sure. And yeah, I have no idea what else to expect from it so far, but it went from like one I was really anticipating to one I was apprehensive about to one that I'm 100% hooked on, and I can't wait to keep playing it and play, it's one I feel like I can get lost in, just like I did in Inscryption, which is what I wanted out of this game.
There's another one that I'd be curious to try called Buckshot Roulette that is like, along the same lines as Inscryption, and this one where you're literally playing Russian roulette with a shotgun, but there's like a lot more modifiers than that. I guess you're trapped in a room as well. You're playing with 3 or 4 others or something, and then like it's got the same sort of creepy vibes to it, with the antagonist being like some just weird looking dude. So it's like definitely Inscryption coded. I don't know if it's good or not, but the reviews are overwhelmingly positive for it. So I'm like, oh, maybe I should give that a shot.
Yeah, that one, like when that came out, it was huge. And I honestly think that it just came out recently, but like the early access of that had been out for maybe a year or so. And the early access of that was like everywhere. Like I saw it like on social media all the time. So yeah, it was very popular.
It was a April 4th, 2024 release, full release. So it's like a little over a year ago.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, like I really, really am enjoying seeing what Inscryption has done. Cause like, I honestly think Inscryption is one of my favorite games, if not my favorite indie game of all time. So like now, like getting to see like, for example, like all of the inspirations that have come from like Vampire Survivors, which we have talked about a lot. Now starting to see like all of these games that are obviously inspired by Inscryption. Like I am so happy to see that and so proud of that game and that developer that they've inspired this huge wave of similar games.
What's great is like, even though it starts these waves of games and it can turn into oversaturation, is when there are gems that come out of that are similar but unique enough to stand on their own and become just another hit in the wake of the game that inspired them all. In the same way that like, even though Vampire Survivors is like one of the very first, or at least one of the more well-known bullet heaven games, like that somewhere along the way encouraged like Soulstone Survivors, which I still love. That's such a good game. But it's like, obviously it's inspired by that, but I like that game more, not because it's like, I mean, it's just got more to it, but it's like got the core of what Vampire Survivors inspired. And so that's where it's like, yeah, like even though it is like copied in some ways from it, it's doing enough original and like strengthening some areas enough to where it's like, okay, this is like a really cool combo of things for me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so happy to see like just the way that indie devs shape the game industry. We talk about this kind of stuff all the time, but like, I feel like there's like this whole audience of people that don't get to see the dots connect. So it's like when you get to see like one of these great games and then see that like ripple effect, or like when you and I play a really great game and we're like, okay, now that this has happened, what games are going to be made by other devs that are inspired by this? Like, I think when we saw Crow Country came out, like we were talking about, okay, I bet anything we're going to see a wave of games that are similar to this. And we did start seeing some of that too. So yeah, like it's so cool to see. It's just such an awesome community.
100%. And yeah, I can't wait to see what else comes from it. And honestly, like at this point, I'm so much more connected to the indie game scene that like there are AAA games or AA games that are coming out that I don't even know about, which is the opposite of what it would have been otherwise. And so there's probably a ton of really cool ones that have come out that I'm just missing out on. One such being one that I picked up but haven't played yet because I wouldn't even be able to really talk about it on this show, which is, but I will mention it at least just so people know I'm aware of it. That is a, oh dang, I forgot the name of it. It's Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. That one it's a Souls-like, but not indie, so I'm not going to talk much about it. But again, that's one that I didn't even know was coming out until I saw it randomly.
It's a Souls-like, so it's your bread and butter.
Right up my alley.
Power up!
Hey there! If you're enjoying this episode so far, do us a favor, throw us a like, a follow, or share the episode or the podcast with folks who love indie games so we can get more of these game recommendations out there and support indie game devs. We also have our YouTube channel at youtube.com/nerdsloth where you can catch us playing even more indie games or check out our top 5 and top 10 series for even more indie game recommendations because we believe there is an indie game out there for everyone.
Combo!
Let's talk about some other indie games we've been playing this week. I played the remaster of Off. As of the day this releases, it comes out today. This was developed, originally developed by Mortis Ghost, or he was one of the original developers. He worked on this along with Fangamer for remastering and porting this to consoles. This is a surreal cult-like classic RPG that was originally made in RPG Maker back in 2008. And the story follows the batter, who is like this stoic baseball-wielding protagonist on a sacred mission to purify the world of specters. When I say the world, it's like this really weird, like, it's not our world, it's a totally different world. The thing is, though, that this game is very self-aware, as in you aren't playing as the batter. You are referred to in the game as the controller, which is like an entity, like someone who is utilizing the batter or like enables him to do the things that he's doing. But the batter like has his own personality, essentially. And you learn that pretty fast when you meet this character called the Judge, which is this really creepy cat that kind of reminds me of that cat from Earthworm Jim, whose name I can't remember, but you know what I'm talking about?
Evil the Cat.
Evil the Cat, that's right, yeah. Who's like, he kind of lays things out for you about the world, breaks the fourth wall, talking to both you as the controller and talking to the batter at the same time. So you're going into these different zones that are all like really weird and surreal, and finding these specters to purify them. It is like a turn-based RPG in a sense. I'll explain that in a minute. There's like 4 zones total. Then there's like another area at the end that I won't spoil for those that haven't played this. There's a lot of environmental logic puzzles, mazes to get lost in, etc. The combat system, so this is what I was going to mention. It's interesting in that, like, so it is turn-based, but there's like build-ups and cooldowns within it, and you can see the enemies like build up as well. So there's like these cases where you can see if like you decide to attack the enemy, will finish and like build up their attack that turn as well. So like it might be better to like defend instead that turn to mitigate some of their damage, and then like attack after when like the enemy's going to be on a buildup again. So like that gets increasingly complex when you have like 4 or 5 enemies at once and they're not all, you know, in the same range of like building up their attacks or something. So, and it seems like the more you attack an enemy, like their buildup for their attack stacks up faster. I don't know if that's for sure, but like my perception is that's what it felt like. So, yeah, it definitely complicates the battle quite a bit. But in like typical like RPG fashion, like you level up, there's like, you know, stats and things like that. Art's very basic in a very Undertale kind of fashion for those that are familiar. Though like way rougher than that. And I'm only comparing it to Undertale as far as that goes, just because that is a newer game. I say newer, but that's been out for like quite a while. But like in the zeitgeist of things, maybe Deltarune would have been the better comparison. But like as far as the cultural zeitgeist, for those that didn't play this game when it originally came out, Undertale's like the quickest comparison I think I can make. But there's definitely been like some fans from what I've seen online that aren't as pleased with the remake so far, all for various reasons. I know the soundtrack had to be completely redone. There's some folks saying that it has been influenced by Undertale and that like some of the writing of the dialogue has been like changed to be more silly or quirky than it was before. But I think the big thing I've seen, the original release in 2008 was free and this is not. So I think that that's been like a sore point for a lot of people as well. But, you know, it's getting a major console release. It's going to be like, you know, across the board. You know, they put a lot of work into like revamping things. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I guess I'll have to see what the full price totally is. Like, we're recording this ahead of time, so I don't know what the full price is. I'm hoping it's a low price point. From what I'm seeing, a lot of people don't think it's gonna be. I can't see a world in which it wouldn't be, especially because it is a short game. I don't know. This is a really interesting game. The story didn't really click for me, so it's not one that I think I could keep investing time in. But I can see points of it where it has definitely influenced other games that I have played, especially games like Undertale and Deltarune. So like, I think if you're a fan of the original and you just want to play like a new updated version of this, then maybe this will be good for you. If you're a fan of Undertale or Deltarune and you're looking for something that's similar, maybe give this one a shot once it releases.
The only other game I'd really gotten time to touch on this week was I jumped back into Shuffle Tactics a bit because I had played that like so lightly before, even though I have it now and I like it. It's just honestly the only thing that's making me not play more of it is because it's like a mouse and keyboard only game. And even though, yeah, it's a computer game and I'm on my computer, or I'm like, what I'm doing is I'm playing on my couch with a controller. So it's more difficult for me to want to like put my wireless mouse and keyboard on my coffee table, even though it like elevates and I can lift it up like a TV tray. It's like, it's a process. And if I'm playing a game, like I don't want to go through the process. Sometimes I just want to grab my controller and play a game. So that's all that's like, the only barrier is that for me. But I finally just played a little bit more. I got to the last boss of a run. And then I died like on the last phase of the last boss. I'm like, it's so close. So close. And what's unfortunate is like those runs can be kind of long too. Like I feel like that run was almost 2 hours. And it's not because I was taking it slow or anything. It's just like, it just is a lengthy roguelike and it's tactic. So it's turn based. So it's like, there's always the delay of time in that. So if I had anything to say about it, I would just say that I wish it were a little bit more compact as far as the like main, like the full story of it goes, so that I could get through runs and know whether I'm going to win or lose quicker versus spending that much time and then just dying at the very end. And then it just feels like really like painful to have spent that much time in it and just get my ass kicked. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. I'm sure I'll go back into it once I get in the mood to like pull out the mouse and keyboard again. But yeah, I like the structure of the game a lot. There are just certain small things about it that I wish were a little different, but generally speaking, it's good for a deck builder turn-based tactics game.
Reminds me of like, I think that happened to you with Become the Moon too, right? Like, didn't you get to the very, very end and then you died before you finished?
Well, Become the Moon is just a inherently difficult game. Like that is such, but the runs are quick enough to where it's like, okay, I can just jump back in, one more run. This doesn't encourage one more run because it's like, oh, it took so long. I can't do one more run. I need to go to sleep or something. So that's the only downside to this. And you know, that it is what it is with all that, but there are like 3 main characters you can unlock, and then all those like companion characters or sidekicks or whatever they're called. And I haven't even unlocked any of the other main characters. So it's like, I don't even know how to do that. Maybe I have to beat the game to do it. So it's like, there's so much to this. And I'm afraid it's just like artificially inflated time wise because of just how long like these runs take. A game that did it really well was that Toads of the Bayou game that we played, because that was like quick and concise, but it was still like really good and satisfying.
Yeah, that was one that I really enjoyed too. And I was just randomly, like you were jogging my memory. There's another game that we talked about like so many episodes ago that I really want to get back into again, which is Into the Restless Ruins. Which was one that I was playing for a bit and then I fell off because of the podcast, and you know, we play so many games. And I typically for a show or for prepping for our shows, because we do 2 episodes a week, I'll usually play like 6 to 7 games. And sometimes some of those games don't even make it onto the show, but because I'm playing so many, like I can't keep up playing like the same game. So that's one that I fell off of and I really want to play it again. But now that I remember, I'm going to write that down so I don't forget. Here is a game that was sent to us by the developer. This was a solo dev. So Cosmolace, which came out on July 14th, 2025, developed and published by I don't know how to say it, Joseph. Help me. Help. I'm drowning.
Cioltos is what I will say.
Sure.
I don't think the CC is connected. I think this first C is like the initial and the second C is the full thing. So just Cioltos.
Hey, we're going to call you CC. So our buddy CC created this narrative-driven puzzle game that fuses optical illusions with a single-stroke drawing mechanism. So players will rotate like this 3D scene to align fragmented paths and connect nodes in like one continuous stroke, literally weaving constellations and cosmic structures. So this is like, picture like outer space. You're looking at constellations and stuff, and you are like essentially drawing paths through these constellations, but in like one continuous line that does not break. Like you can't break the line to solve these puzzles. It sounds simple at first. It is not, especially as you keep going. And there are a ton of levels to this thing. So a lot of it is also perspective based in that you can like rotate your viewpoint in 3 dimensions to align like sometimes it'll look like the points that you need to connect, it will look like there's no way to connect them. But if you like rotate your viewpoint around, then suddenly just based on your perspective, they look like they are connected, and that will let you do it. That will let you draw the thing, which is kind of crazy and makes my brain hurt just trying to like conceptualize this. And the mechanics of this thing just keep kind of evolving as you go. Like it keeps introducing like more and more tools like black holes and other things that you can utilize to sort of like warp your like spatial conception of these puzzles. And then there's also like, as if that's not enough, they also do have like an ongoing narrative to it too, which is kind of cool. So like each time you complete like a puzzle, it reveals this sort of narrative of like just a few short sentences, almost in like a poem in a way, that is called like Whispers of the Cosmos, which unfolds this little bit of a storyline. It's very minimalist and abstract in a very dreamlike way to look at. Like you're in space, you're drawing the constellations or through constellations, really. It's very meditative, very psychedelic. It reminds me a lot of games from that game company. And yes, that is the developer's name, like Flower or Flow, if you've ever seen those games, which are like really those like short experiences of like in Flower, you're literally just the wind guiding these flower petals through, you know, this area and like bringing color back to this world. But this gets like really complex as you go along, and it's just super satisfying to just kind of vibe out and look for creative ways to solve all the shapes, especially when you like can just move everything around. You almost feel a little Tony Stark in that way of like rotating all these like objects and drawing into them and stuff. This is something that almost like reminds me of, you know, would have been something really cool on like a 3DS back in the day or you know, did that one have the stylus? I can't remember now. It's been so long since I've had a DS.
Yeah, it had a stylus.
Yeah, like it reminds me of something that would have been like really, really good on something like that. But thank you so much for sending this to us, because like, and you were also super, super nice in your email. You're like, hey, you know, maybe you'll like it, maybe not. It doesn't matter. Here's your game key. And I was just like, oh,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I was just
That's funny.
okay, now I do like this. I like this a lot. So I hope your game does very, very well for you, because this is something that like I'm going to be adding to my Steam Deck, and I'm going to be playing this like every night until I finish this thing, as long as my brain doesn't fry, because that is a slight worry.
It does look like a cool like brain age kind of challenge. That was I think what the games on the DS were called, or maybe it was a DS.
There was a bunch of,
but yeah, brain age was at least the main like kind of brain teaser puzzle sort of game, and yeah, this would be like a more advanced version of that. if you're tired of your New York Times puzzle stuff, then this one will challenge you a little bit more.
I have been getting tired of those, man. Like I haven't, I've been on and off with those.
I'm only done checked one, out of it now.
I've only done one like every few days, but mainly just because I keep forgetting because my ADHD is like so bad lately. And we had my daughter's screen today and they're like, yeah, she's, that attention span's pretty short, huh? I'm like, oops. Yeah, it is. So, sorry, kiddo. Sorry about that. You might have gotten that from your old dad.
Welcome to that world.
Final round.
Let's talk about some upcoming indie games we're excited about. I'm only got one for you, my friend. And because I've been on such a horror kick lately, this is Deep Sleep Labyrinth of the Forsaken. Just like last week, this one comes out on August 21st. This seems like if someone asked the question, what if Silent Hill or Resident Evil were point-and-click adventure games? Because that's definitely the vibe I'm getting from this.
Not a question that I'd ask myself, but
hey. It looks so unsettling. I've got to see what it's about. I can't wait to get my hands on this one and maybe scream, maybe cry a little bit, maybe hide under my desk in fetal position for a while. So one of those.
The one I want to mention is Dice Gambit. That one comes out on the 14th of August. And it just looks super cool. It's like a strategy, turn-based tactics RPG. I don't know exactly what's going on with it, but it's got dice mechanics to it. And is it a roguelike? I don't even think it is. No, I think it's just like a straight through JRPG, but done in a very like cool way with the way that they are utilizing in the same way that the Shuffle Tactics uses a deck building mechanic with their turn-based tactics. This one uses a dice building mechanic, like a pool of dice building to their like turn-based tactic style. And I think I'm glad that people are doing unique things with the turn-based tactics sort of style, like grid-based sort of movement. And those are things that like I enjoy as a standalone things, but they can get kind of repetitive and even a little dull if it's just like a straight like battler. So adding these different elements to it that really change up each battle and make them very unique is what definitely appeals to me at this point in my life. So yeah, this one I just kind of learned about the other day. So I just wanted to bring it up because I'm probably going to be picking it up as a demo. Let's kind of try it out.
Yeah, I really love the artwork of this one. This was one that I had been paying attention to. Yeah, and it as of the release of this episode, it is out. So y'all check it out. Tell us if we were wrong. More often, I feel like we're usually pretty right. I think we got some pretty good instincts as far as
you can sometimes kind of tell from the way a game looks whether or not it's going to be okay, unless there's just something really jarring about it on its release, like, oh, well, this bug is just game breaking, or this game is ridiculously short, or just way too hard, or way too easy. Those are problems that you could face, but those things can be fixed most of the time. And this one, I don't know, looks interesting.
I just typed a name in our Discord. Look up that game real quick. Just because it looks ridiculous.
This one, I think I know about this game. It sounds familiar.
Froglike?
Yeah.
Or Froglike? It looks like it's supposed to be Froglike.
It's Froglike because it's a roguelike, but with frogs. Oh, so
that's what I thought.
I had seen this one and it's like a Vampire Survivor with a frog.
With a frog.
But it's like very simplistic like graphics.
I love it.
Still early access too. Interesting. Yeah. But it's been in early access since January 2024. So who knows if it's gonna ever fully release? I don't know.
I love that, like, you can see he's got like so many tongues flying all over the place, like in helicopter style. That, like, I just stumbled across it when we were looking at Dice Gambit. So that's why I saw that and I was like, oh, I've got to show you this in case you haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah. I have seen it, but I can't touch it until it's full release.
Yeah. From the same publisher, which is why it popped up. So, it just
the same
looked
publisher fun. as Dice Gambit?
Dice Gambit, yeah.
Okay. I'll put it on my wish list. So if it ever does fully release, I do want to try it, but I don't know.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah.
Game over.
Hey, if you had a good time listening to this episode, stick around for the bumper and learn how you can help support the show and all the things we do here at Sloth Creative. You can also check the show notes for our link tree, which will take you to our social media, Discord, subreddit, merch store, all the cool stuff. But get in touch with us, let us know what indie games you're playing, and help us elevate these games so we can help support these indie game devs. But that's game over for us. My name's Chris.
I'm Joseph.
And we'll continue on the next episode.
Continue.
Indie Game Arcade is recorded and produced by Sloth Creative. If you're looking for more gaming content, head over to youtube.com/nerdsloth for indie game let's plays and recommendations. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/nerdsloth, where you can select a pledge and receive access to hundreds of hours of bonus content from everything at Nerdsloth Creative. If you're an indie game developer and would like us to review your game or explore other opportunities, send an email to nerdslothcreative@gmail.com with the subject line Indie Game Arcade. Thanks for listening, and keep supporting indie game devs.